Today, Big Money, Daddy Warbucks, Dana White took to social media to announce upcoming fights in the UFC. And let's just say that what we thought was going on, it was going on because they've been holding back a lot of the major fights outside of the Duck John Jones, the man that dons my wall, outside of the one that he dodged. Let him cook. Dana White, that is. All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. It's your boy, Matt. We heading into the weekend. No UFC. We getting toe up. You know how it goes down. Nevertheless, bro, how about Big Money, Deep Pockets, Daddy Warbucks, Dana White, Mr. 7.7 billion? How about the man delivered some fights yesterday, all right? He delivered some fights, and as long as these fighters can hold it together in their training camps and don't tear a knee, don't tear MCL, ACL, PCL, CDL, don't tear it. You know what I'm saying? Just don't tear it. As long as they don't tear it, we got a lot of good fights coming up at the end of this year. So let's go ahead. Let's kick it off. Let's just kick it off with the granddaddy, with the main one that we trying to see. UFC 322 going down in New York City. You know what I'm saying? You know how the UFC comes in New York City. Pause. You know what I'm saying? We talking about in the main event, Madison Square Gardens, Jack Della Maddalena attempts to defend the welterweight championship against Islam Makhachev. That's what I'm talking about. It's going down. Makhachev chasing greatness, going up to welterweight and trying to snatch that crown, snatch that strap. He's done with 155. He letting Ilya handle that. Now the man's at 170. Very, very interesting. Cannot wait to see this fight. And here's the thing, man. Look, bro, smart money says you gotta go with Islam Makhachev. Okay? Islam Makhachev is one of the greatest fighters we have ever seen, right? But Jack Della, this dude, I mean, he's built a little bit different as well. And what's very interesting about this fight is that, you know, a year ago, if someone told you that Jack Della was going to be the welterweight champion and he was going to face Islam Makhachev, you would be like, well, Islam's going to run through him. Even though Jack Della's the bigger man, he's going to run through him. But, man, Jack Della showed a lot in that Bilal Muhammad win, you know? And, you know, the age-old thing is like, you know, once you become a champion, you know, I don't know the exact percentage, so don't quote me on the percentage, but you like, you know, 30, 40, 50% better than you was before. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm talking about is now you've got champion Jack Della going into a training camp, getting ready for Islam Makhachev, right? And he already showed us that he could deal with somebody that's going in there with their primary form of fighting is wrestling, even though Bilal Muhammad chose not to wrestle. So very interesting. I would still favor Islam Makhachev, but very interesting on that. Let's move on. How about in the co-main event of the same card? There's a certain style of truck that's going to be driving into Madison Square Gardens, and it's a Chevy truck. It's Valentina Shevchenko, as she attempts to defend her 125-pound championship against Zhang Weili. Remember me, Zhang Weili. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get off into it. Because realistically, man, yeah, I think there's maybe maybe two, possibly, but maybe one more challenge left at 115 pounds for Zhang Weili. So let's let her move up. She wants the dream fight. I want to see this fight. It's going to be amazing because you have Valentina, who tends to strike on the feet, and when the going gets tough or when she sees an opening, she will shoot and get her opponent down to the ground, subdue her opponent, keep her down for a while, and easy to ride out that round. But Zhang Weili built different in the grappling and the wrestling. You know what I'm saying? She built different. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, this is very, very, very interesting. This is going to be it for the 125-pound championship. Looking at Zhang Weili over the years, especially early in her career, she kind of leaned up a little bit, or slimmed down, I should say. Lost slightly a little bit of muscle mass at this point in her career. But early on, she was a tank. So I think she's going to go back to tank status. You know what I'm talking about? So that's going to be an outstanding fight there in Madison Square Gardens. Another fight announced on that card. Former welterweight champion of the world, Leon Edwards, steps in the octagon with, you guessed it, the man that's been known to rip a dart. The man that's out there blowing cigs all over the octagon, Carlos Perates of the Fighting Nerds. He got what he asked for after he won his last fight over Jeff Neal. He will step in the octagon with Leon Edwards. I think that this fight is going to be a banger because where Leon Edwards can kind of be in a boring fight, Carlos Perates, I don't think, will allow this to be a boring fight based on the pressure that he puts on individuals. So that's going to be outstanding to see. That's UFC 322 going down in New York City, Madison Square Gardens this November. Now, let's get off into another card. This card, I've only got 2 fights on this one, but one of them is huge. And the other one is huge as well. You know what I'm saying? But let's get off into it. UFC 321, the month before, October the 25th. This is in Abu Dhabi. Now, this, if I'm not mistaken, will also have Tom Aspinall defending his championship against Cyril Gane. So this might be the co-main event. Virna Jandiroba steps in the octagon with Mackenzie Dern in their second fight, their rematch, for the vacant strawweight championship of the world, vacated by previous who I just talked about, Zhang Weili. This is going to be an outstanding fight to me because what you find with a lot of Virna fights is that she's so good in the grappling. She's so good with wrestling that at the end of the day, you see her in there with women and you're just like, Virna's going to have her way with this. Like, there's, heaven-ish. You know what I'm saying? She's going to have her way with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just her style. She has ugly stand-up. No disrespect, but she has ugly stand-up. But it's comparable to get her opponent off balance and then the shot comes and she gets them to the ground, or to get her opponent just out of the mindset that any moment Virna's going to shoot. And then she's throwing these awkward punches at you and you're like, what is going on? And then there comes a shot and you're on the ground and she's grappling the F out of you. You know what I'm saying? Bro. But this is going to be different because with her approach, do you do that against Mackenzie Dern? Granted, Jandiroba is a much better wrestler and probably a better MMA grappler than Mackenzie Dern. But do you keep taking chances with someone that knows, Mackenzie Dern knows exactly what Virna's going to do? She seems to be more dialed in at this point in her career. Hopefully her coaching is on point and they coach her to understand that this is going to the ground. This is going to be wrestling. This is going to be grappling. And so Mackenzie Dern can then hone in on her submissions. So how many times does Jandiroba get this to the ground and risk getting caught in a Dern submission? So this is going to be very interesting. It's for the strawweight championship of the world. Everyone knows the UFC has been trying to get a belt on Mackenzie Dern ever since she set foot into the company. That's why they keep giving her so many chances because, let's be honest, look at her. And if she's walking around with a championship title, representing the UFC, they'll fly her everywhere. She'll be on Good Morning America. She'll be on The View. She'll be showing up on your local news. She'll be on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. She'll be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Holding that belt. That's good money. That's big business for the UFC. 7.7 billion. You know what I'm talking about? So, bro, very interesting fight. Finally, last fight I'm gonna bring up. Umar Nurmagomedov makes his return into the octagon. Same card, October 25th in Abu Dhabi against Mario Bautista. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go on and dispose of Mario Bautista. In the name of Jose Aldo, the King of Rio, let's dispose of Mario Bautista. Nurmagomedov is the man. He is the hitman. You lay down the $7.7 billion. You lay down the money. You hand it over to Nurmagomedov. He goes out there. He gets the KILL. You know what I'm saying? So, cannot wait to see these two cards. I know this isn't all the fights. This is just a few. Also announced, I just now remembered we've got, hold on just a second. There was one other fight that was just announced. Tracy Cortez versus Aaron Blanchfield. It's a random fight that the UFC threw together, but they threw it together because I think what they're looking at is, okay, Tracy Cortez is kind of in that Mackenzie Dern type realm, even though Tracy Cortez has had a much better career as far as wins. They're looking at it like if Tracy Cortez wins and she beats Blanchfield, that's a legit solid win. We can springboard Tracy Cortez up higher. If Blanchfield wins, we continue to groom her to fight for the belt. So, solid fight there. Actually can't wait to see that. That's also going down at UFC 322 in New York. So nevertheless, guys, please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think about these fights that have been announced. Who you got winning? What's your thoughts? And please, I do want to thank you guys once again, every time, for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time. Peace.